Hello everyone, welcome to Tridion Docs Genius and Content Delivery Bootcamp. My name is Danielle van Heijden and I'm the product owner for Tridion Docs Genius. I'm presenting today together with my colleague Ben Middleton, our principal architect. What is on the agenda today? Introducing Tridion Docs Genius, starting with what is it, which contains an example scenario, followed by what do I need to know, and finalizing by how does it work. So Tridion Docs Genius, what is it? In our current information overloaded society, we need to guide our users to find relevant information they need to perform their tasks. How might we provide our customers with a better way to deliver their structured content so their users can find the right information to get their job done and benefit from the structure? There might be multiple sources required to find that information. It's all about connecting all relevant information and presenting this to the user in an accessible format, easy to digest and trustworthy. We don't want to create just another documentation delivery portal. There are already some very good ones available. We want to solve some specific problems that we see out in the world of trustability and of getting you as a user to your end goal. We ultimately need new ways to provide value for smart people with lots to do and not enough time. Let me guide you through an example. My company has just bought Tridion Docs and Trados Enterprise. As a business user, I would like to learn more about making Tridion Docs and Trados Enterprise work together. Not just the technical implementation, but also looking into best practices. We can look at the scenario in terms of before recommendations and after. Let's start with the before scenario. I ask in our trustable chat how to get started, and after a nice conversation, it gives me some good hints on where to start. I open a link to a page on integrating Tridion Docs and Trados Enterprise. I'm then a bit lost. It does give me good input from the technical point of view, but no good links on this topic page to the corresponding information in the Trados Enterprise documentation or any project best practices. If I search the Trados Enterprise documentation, I really don't know where to start. The content is out there, but how can the system better facilitate me in finding it? Moving on with the after adding the smart recommendations. From landing on the initial integration requirements Trados Enterprise page, I am now recommended and view a useful technical one in the Trados Enterprise documentation. I then want to know more about the workflow and project best practices, and I open the Explorer view. From the Tridion Docs to Trados service, I hopped to a new stepping stone and review these recommendations that were generated for me. I do not view this topic because the description shown in the hexagon looks too technical to me. But this recommendation at the top, that one looks better. So I dive in and see it. This page helps me understand the overall flow. I found what I was looking for. Let me give you an overview of the Tridion Docs Genius setup. Our initial setup will be based upon a single source, Tridion Docs. We are aiming to add multiple sources in future releases. Tridion Docs Genius is a cloud-only solution which allows us to continuously extend and enhance our portal. It provides a seamless navigation experience, focusing on the every page is page one concept. We focus on responsive design and are offering a mobile-friendly experience. We provide a secure setup using Veracode to ensure there are no vulnerabilities. Performance when clicking through your experience should be smooth, and response times should be very quick. It enables customers to find relevant content and have conversational interactions about it. Generative AI. Another important aspect of the portal is its customization. This portal will need to fit in with other online products and adhere to branding guidelines. To enable this, we will offer branding configuration and extensibility. Our portal also enables customers to search for content by free text, incrementally refining the results by using facets. Now over to Ben, who will give you more details on our product offering.
Thanks, Danny. So, as Danny said there, we are providing this as a cloud-only product offering for the reasons that Danny expressed, and we will have a 4-tier offering out of the box. So all of these tiers will contain the core functionality, some of which we've seen on the previous slide. So that includes the main portal itself, the search capabilities, the optimized recommendations, the trustable conversations, the branding config, and custom links will be coming. Now, our basic offering provides support for a typical customer that needs to get their website online, and will provide, you can see the numbers here, 360,000 page views or search hits per year. And then we will also have, on the publishing side, a limitation of number of topics per hour that we would expect those sort of users to consume. Then going up the scale, we have a plus and advanced offering, which will offer greater scaling capabilities, but with the same features going through all of them. Now you see here also the semantic AI offering. So for those of you that wish to use our semantic AI with taxonomy space, that is an offering that you can add on to this cloud offering, and that gives you the extra capabilities that semantic AI can give you. And then finally, if there are customers with more advanced requirements, they can discuss these with our team, and we can offer an enterprise offering which is sized based on their particular needs, and that includes customers with secure and high value content. So in all cases, we'll be providing 2 cloud environments for customers to use. So they will have a staging environment where they can deploy their extensions, do testing on their sites as they're deploying it, and they can use our add-on services to get those extensions in there. We also have our production environment, and the difference there is that those extensions will be validated and deployed via our cloud operations team. The other big change in production is obviously that we have our usual SLA in place, whereas on the staging environment, that won't be in place. I'm handing back to Danny now, please.
Thank you, Ben. Chat UIs are commonplace nowadays, but ensuring they provide reliable information, that's another challenge altogether. Our Trustable Chat is a conversational AI assistant designed to accompany you throughout your journey. It goes beyond simple communication. It aims to reassure users by guiding them towards the most accurate answers in human language. Our aim is to ensure reliability and authenticity by doing 2 things. No fake answers. Semantic AI digs into your trusted resources to find the truth. Your users start with the language model to quickly get the picture. The chat should give users confidence in every interaction, your trusty companion on any journey. Our chat is not just about communication, it's about reassuring users that we're guiding them to the next best answer. Users will get suggestions based on their question. They can also view references to double-check information. Imagine you're in an open-world game. There's a lot you could do, but you don't feel equipped enough just yet. Where do you go from here? There are different types of information-seeking modes. Exploring is one of them. Our hexagons are the stepping stones in a vast trail of information. There's a job you need to do. You land in the portal, but this is not what you need. You see a way to explore more. You click on Explore, which opens a new set of choices based on what you've been looking at. When you try to accomplish a certain goal, these stepping stones can help you in achieving this by allowing you to piece it all together and exploring the recommendations. We've designed the hexagons using a honeycomb layout. This clearly shows the relationship between the top 6 topics. We've made sure not to overcrowd the hexagon to make it easy for users to skim over titles and short descriptions. Main topic will be displayed in the middle hexagon. And you can explore the content by selecting one of the recommendations. When selecting a recommendation, that will become your main topic, and we will generate 6 new recommendations. If you want to open the full topic page, you can click on the icon. And this will also work across smaller devices. So, hexagons are a unique way to explore information. They guide users through a treasure trove of recommendations. And no matter where they land, every page is page 1. Extensibility is one of the key pillars of Tridion Docs Genius. Customers can apply their own branding during development. It is possible to change the logo, portal theme, and footer by uploading a configuration file via the add-on manager. The add-on manager uses the customer's identity provider. The portal will have predefined areas for customers to add custom buttons and additional services if they need it. Here's an example of a possible sidebar extension. There are many possibilities in this space, but as we move forward, the most important thing will be to gain more insight into our customers and their users' needs. Moving on to section 2. What do you need to know about Tridion Docs Genius? To drive high-quality results in the AI-powered features used in Genius and to facilitate advanced search, we reviewed our available metadata. We needed some additional metadata fields to guide our users to high-value content that would improve the quality of search results, recommendations, and trusted conversations. This data should be structured and not limited by a list of values that could either be sourced from an internal or external taxonomy, a semantic AI pool party offering. In Tridion Docs 15.1, we are introducing the following additional metadata fields to support this: product, product release name, audience, and goal. When searching the portal, a search results page will be displayed, including pagination. We have added filters to refine your search results, and they will either be sourced by using our internal taxonomy or our semantic AI pool party offering. You can refine your results by selecting a product family, version, goal, or intended audience. Searching from a topic page will search in the selected publication, which can be removed to broaden your search. Do you remember I showed you the example previously where I was looking for information on how to integrate Tridion Docs and Trados Enterprise? These smart recommendations, as shown in this example, make use of our new taxonomy fields where integrating is defined as a user goal and all above pages are tagged with that. The integrating user goal is crucial here. We also rely on the semantic similarity between topics on the Tridion Docs documentation side and on the Trados Enterprise documentation side, which both talk about integrating Docs and Trados Enterprise. Here is an overview of how to use these new fields. Let's start with the 2 existing fields that will be migrated to the new structure. Product. This is defined on a logical publication level. It represents the product family name, which could be described as a kind of a product line. Anything that you want to appear on a single page placed on the landing page. Numbers between brackets are used for ordering and won't be displayed. For example, Tridion Docs 100 and Tridion Sites 200. Product release name. This is defined on publication version level and represents the version of your content, which is used in the version selector. Every product family has only one release cadence. The product release name applies to the whole product family. If you don't have any releases, that's fine, you don't need this. But if you have a combination of things with a release and things without a release, you need to choose the one with the release as being the governing one, and the others need tags accordingly. And now move on to the new fields. Audience. This is defined on maps and topics logical level and makes it possible to select the intended audience. For the audience, we will provide a default list. Some of the examples are integrator and author. These settings can be changed. Some tips. Use the basic taxonomy rules. When changing them, try to make them complete and not overlap each other. Try to keep them at the same level and don't use too deeply nested structures. And try not to incorporate novice to advanced, since this might lead into ambiguous categories. Our last new field is goal. This is defined on maps and topics logical level. It defines the user goal. What is my job? This is the most important thing to drive recommendations and increase relevance. As a user, you're in there to do a job, and this will help you to find the right content. Here we provide a flat list with approximately 20 user goals, for example, troubleshooting or configuring, which can be customized. This internal taxonomy will do the job, but some customers may want to take that a level deeper and have really specific user goals. Some customers can get even more value from a more detailed, more hierarchical taxonomy of user goals. And that's one of the cases where a pool party would be helpful. For example, you might be 3 levels down at a leaf of the taxonomy tree. And yet something else is not exactly tagged with that leaf, but it's on the same branch. When it comes from pool party, it's sophisticated enough to pick that up and give you more precise results. So more sophisticated taxonomies will give you even more precise recommendations. Ben will now share how this works in DocCM.
Thanks, Danny. So in previous versions of Tridion Docs, these kind of fields could only come from the internal system. However, in Tridion Docs 15.1, the customer can now configure these metadata fields to be linked to such external taxonomy providers, and our Semantic AI taxonomy space is one such provider. So here you can see an example of such an integration where we've configured these new product and product release fields to be sourced from our Semantic AI concept schemes in this case. So this provides users with a lot more flexibility in how they can source values to these fields rather than just being constrained to those internal values. So it's worth noting here that we have removed support for the legacy Tridion Sites taxonomy connector in this release. So for those customers that do wish to integrate Tridion Docs with Tridion Sites, then we would guide them to using our Semantic AI offering instead, which will provide the capabilities that they need there. Now, our searchable fields, previously in Tridion Docs, these metadata fields our dynamic delivery publishing plugin was only marking one particular field, the remote status field, as searchable. Now, this constrained the value of our content delivery search, where we would only be able to display metadata fields, but not search across them. Now, in Tridion Docs 15.1, we've given the possibility to configure which fields can be searched when publishing into our content delivery platform. Now, Tridion Docs geniusly explicitly makes use of these new values in determining how to use and recommend these topics. But this also provides additional value for regular sort of native content delivery users who can now extend their own search implementations with these index fields beyond those standard ones. So here we can see an example of such a configuration where we've had these 4 new fields that Danny mentioned being configured as searchable. And you can see how that gets produced from the output on the right. Back to Danny now.
By default, the portal will have a name, logo, fav icon, set of UI languages, a portal theme, localized UI strings in available UI languages, and a set of footer links. They can all be changed via a branding configuration file. We will provide an example configuration file in the documentation. So how does this configuration file look? We have in the top part the URL links to the logo and the fav icon. Here we also define the available UI languages, the order in which they appear on the platform, and default fallback language. Then we have the messages, which can be configured for each specific language. You can specify the portal name by adding a logo name and how you would like to display the UI languages in the language selector. There is a default set of footer links available, which can be changed here as well. Footer links can also be localized per language. In the theme section of the configuration, the palette is shown for the colors. Initially, we're just using the light one. Here you can configure the primary and secondary colors and the background. Background currently has 2 shades, default and paper. It's useful having the 2 shades because it creates a separation of the containers on the page. After finalizing updates to the configuration file, the branding package can be deployed using Add-on Manager, and after that, the portal will need to be restarted for the changes to become effective. When a customer wants to use a Tridion Docs Genius, they will need an identity provider that will be used with Add-on Manager. They will be given an endpoint by CloudOps where they can upload the add-on for the local development. They'll be given instructions on how to restart Tridion Docs Genius. So how does it work? We focus in Tridion Docs Genius on user experience. Clean styling, desktop and mobile friendly. We've leveraged Google's Material UI framework to ensure the portal is pixel perfect and consistent across platforms. We are rendering most frequently used data elements by using the Material UI components. This is taking care of all elements and will always show a good default, so no tweaks are needed. Over to Ben again for our final part of this presentation.
Thanks, Danny. So AI really is at the heart of what Tridion Docs Genius is. So we use multiple technologies here to underpin some of the capabilities that Tridion Docs Genius has. So we use the latest text embeddings models for our semantic similarity. And these allow us to do multi-language vector embeddings as well. And we also use cutting-edge large language models for the conversational chat. Now we use retrieval augmented generation techniques for the trustable chat across those topics, which means there's no training required here. And finally, from the content delivery platform, we've exposed these capabilities so that Tridion Docs Genius can make use of these capabilities and for future things that we need to build. So here's an overview of some of the technology pieces that we have within our system. So just to reiterate again, taxonomy space is an optional component for a typical Tridion Docs Genius implementation, so customers can choose to have that as part of their offering. And then we have the technologies that underpin Genius itself. So this is built using cutting-edge technologies, including Next.js, React, server-side rendering, and WebSockets to provide some of these capabilities that we see on the Genius portal. And this is built in a way that's geared up for sort of performance, scalability, usability, and accessibility. We use the capabilities of our cloud operations platform through AWS Shield to secure us against attacks from denial of service and exploits and things like that. And also we benefit from the capabilities of the whole Amazon Web Services platform through their ability to secure services, to have secure data storage of anything that's passed into the large language models, for instance. So no customer data ends up on other customer sites, and the people that run Claude 3, Anthropic, they don't get hands on any of our content coming into it. So Amazon provide all the security needs around that. Underpinning our search capabilities is OpenSearch. So this has not only our search features, but it also has hooks onto our embeddings model through that mechanism. And we're using Amazon SageMaker to host our embeddings. And Amazon SageMaker has the benefits that it allows us to continually improve the models that we host here in case any new ones come along, because the pace of change with current AI technologies means that what's available today will be the worst things that are available, because tomorrow there's going to be something better. And Amazon's platform provides us these capabilities. That's also true with Amazon Bedrock. So Bedrock allows us to run different models within their system in a consistent manner, so that both Draft Companion and Content Service can talk to that one Bedrock endpoint, and we can offer all of these new capabilities through this whole Tridion AI capability that we'll have within our cloud. Now, Danny's already mentioned around the need for the add-on service and the identity providers. And it's good to notice that this is a fully decoupled architecture, so that it allows us to kind of improve various components of this without changing underlying pieces. So because this is cloud offering, we can do these new releases of Tridion docs quickly. New capabilities can be exposed to our customers without the usual overhead of having to arrange uptime, downtime, changeovers and upgrades and things like that. So I want to talk briefly about why we chose Anthropic Claude. So we've been using Claude now through our experiments for the last year, and most recently Claude 3 was released just a few weeks ago, and it reinforces the reason that it's a good model for our case. So Claude has always had a reputation for being harmless, honest and truthful, with fewer hallucinations than competing models and the previous models as well with Claude 3. The large context window Claude has always been class leading, and they will support up to 1 million tokens. I mean, we don't need that for our needs, but it gives us a good grounding for these sort of RAG use cases where you need to include a reasonably large amount of context from our recommendations into that large language model, so that we can then have a valued conversation with it to get the data that we're looking for from it. The quality of Claude has always been recognized as very good for the particular needs that we have, and that's about writing, summarizing, anything to do with language, really. Some of the competing models out there are very good with code, for instance, but Claude is highlighted as one of the best ones for language. And we have support for a range of language there, including some APAC languages. So this is where Claude does quite well. Even if it hasn't been trained on all these languages, it still copes well with some commonly used large language model tests, where it can cope really well with the top 25 sort of common languages. So that's useful for RWS customers who obviously put language high up on their requirements. So just reiterating what Danny has mentioned here, so we are providing extensibility through the add-on service, so customers do have the ability to provide those extensions through an endpoint that they have access to without having to talk to our cloud operations team. And then there'll be a mechanism to make sure that the Tridion Docs Genius portal picks up those extensions. But you do need to secure that, so the customer does need to provide their identity provider, which will typically be the same one that we can use with Tridion Docs as well. So coming on to the recommendations. So as we've already said, recommendations are based on a range of data sources here. So we have in-topic links. So basically when you're authoring content, there'll be links to other topics, maybe within that publication, to other sections of that publication. They have particular value because an author has put them into the content. So it's obviously of value in terms of a recommendation. There's also related links that the author may well have attached to that document. And they don't have to be there, but a lot of customers have built up these related tables where these links are of value, so they can remain there and we can harness the fact that they've been put in and authored there. Then we have these, what we call internal opinionated taxonomy fields, the ones that Danny's referred to, the audience, the goal in particular, provide a huge amount of value in terms of how to determine which recommendations to show. Of course, our semantic AI relations give you that extra flexibility because obviously you have the whole taxonomy and the relationship within those taxonomies to help improve that query. And then we have what the new embeddings model's providing, and that's what we call dense vector. And that gives you a semantic similarity between two topics. So essentially, if all the other sources of data are failing you in terms of coming up with good recommendations, those semantic dense vector recommendations will be there to support you. So you will always get some good quality recommendations coming through. And then finally, we can also make use of the relative position of that topic with relation to its sort of familiar links. So whether it's the parent and child location. So this set of data that we have a recommendation that then proportionally blends these together to come up with the best kind of quality recommendations, and we have some careful weighting that we put to these various queries to ensure that the best queries and the best results come at the top of those recommendations, because we only obviously want to show 6 at a time here. We don't need to show hundreds of recommendations because that's just unwieldy for the end user. And then we're making use of these really high quality recommendations using this sort of unique visual navigation stepping stone system that allows you to quickly move around. And as you'll see through the demo later, that it's very fast to interact with this system. And then that allows you to find the content you want without having to open up subsequent topics and then look again and open up subsequent topics. Now, under the hood, how we're doing that, we're obviously taking these various data sources. We'll use the current topic that you're looking at as a footprint. So basically saying what's defined on this topic, that's the starting point. And then from that, you get all this other information that we then use to get a pre-filtered list of recommendations that we can do. So we can remove irrelevant topics, we can remove where we have multiple versions of a product, for instance. You don't want to be always returning the same topic across all those versions because typically they may well all be marked up with the same stuff. So we will typically only show the latest version of a product with that pre-filtering. And obviously we will also take out any embargoed content. So it'll only be content that has been published and is flagged as live that will be seen there. And from there, we then combine these using this hybrid query mechanism where we can boost the weights of certain parts, and then we will get an optimized set of results, this top 6, which we then display around this nice navigation device with our current topic in the middle, which we've seen. So that's really the underpinnings of some of the AI technologies that we've been working with over these last few months to really make Tridion Docs Genius a high quality tool for finding content. No matter where you land on a page, it means you can get to where you want to quickly, which is kind of essential for these sort of setups. So we're going to move on now to some FAQs that we had defined and some questions we've already had from some from partners and various others we've discussed already. So just briefly on these, so how do I install it? Well, as we've said before, Tridion Docs Genius is a cloud-only product, so there's no installation needs there. Will SEO work? Of course. So we've put a lot of effort to make sure that these links that we're generating in the Tridion Docs Genius are properly indexed by Google and the various other search engines so that we can actually find our content through public-facing websites. So are user conditions supported? So right now we have publish time conditions that are rendered when we publish, but we don't have the dynamic runtime conditions. What document sources are included? So at the moment we have Tridion Docs. What is configurable? So we have, as we've seen, we have the logo, the icon, the theme, the footer, and the displayed language for many of those pieces. Where do we configure this? So it's configured, as we said, through the branding add-on manager and the add-on that we upload as a zip file to that. And it's supporting that is that JSON config. And does it support UI extensions? So the UI extensions aren't there today. On the recommendations piece, so should I remove my existing relationship tables? So not if they're good quality. If you put the effort in to make good quality recommendations, we should make use of them and our recommendations engine will use them for you. How are the recommendations built? So we build them based upon that blended combination of opinionated metadata and semantic footprint of the current topic. Can I predefine my recommendations? No, but we can guide it using some good quality metadata. And this is where things like the goal and the audience really come into play. What's the purpose of these new fields? So it really is to drive these better quality recommendations. So customers can also use them for other needs for their own use internally, but for us, the Tridion Docs is using them for that recommendation piece. Will I see multiple copies of related links? So no, so we filter out where there are duplicate things. So you may have, for instance, related links in multiple sections, or you may have a link that's related and that might appear as an in-topic link. So there's no point in repeating them because they will end up just polluting those results. So we just show you a single link where there are multiple ones. Can I change the relative weightings? So no, so we're putting a lot of effort to really make them work for the Tridion Docs use case and the typical models that we have. And finally on this, how do I train it? And as I've said before, no need to train this one. It simply works using our RAG mechanism. On the trustable chat, can you instruct the chat to always respond with a particular answer? Because some customers have asked this. No, and in a way, you probably don't want it to do that. Can you use it for general AI tasks? So the system's been designed and trained, well, not trained, but sort of prompted, if you like, to look at the specific contextual documents that we provide to it coming from those recommendations. But you can ask to it to do more on the results. Can I use a different AI provider? No, there's no need to choose here. We've done the work and we've put the effort in finding a good quality model that suits our use case. Does the system support multiple languages? Yes, so both our chat and our embeddings models support multiple languages, many of the top languages, including APAC languages. Can it translate? Yes, it can. So this is a good example of how you can do slightly more for these general AI tasks. So you can ask it to respond in a different language, for instance, and it will do a really good job of translating to that language, regardless of whether the source content exists in that language. How do we stop it being abusive? Well, this is where we use some of the capabilities that Amazon Bedrock provide for us, and the fact that it's Claude, it's regarded as a very safe model, so it's less easy to make it be abusive, and we will monitor it for any potential misuse. Are my conversations private? Yes, so all chat interactions that we have are managed within a secure session for each customer. And can we switch off the chat? That is an option that we can disable if customers aren't happy with having that chat capability. So that's it for our session today. So we're glad that you could join us for this. We hope you find what we're building in Tridion Docs Genius very exciting, because we certainly think it's going to be of real value to a lot of our customers. But keep an eye out, because it's coming quite soon.